everyone, and welcome to the Noona's Noonchi Deep Dive, being introspective with K-dramas from a mental health perspective. More on highlighting women in K-dramas, and let's take a look at one of my favorites, Search WWW, and When the Camellia Blooms, the female leads, of course, and how they're portrayed. In honor of International Women's Day, which this year's theme is Break the Bias. I mean, think about Search WW, the female leads. I mean, speaking of breaking the bias, right? And then When the Camellia Blooms, Kong Hyo-jin's character, Dong-baek. Wow, breaking the bias. Let's start with Dong-baek, right? When the Camellia Blooms, single mom, raising her kid on her own. And then her job, you know what that is? A bar owner, right? It's pretty unconventional, breaking the bias and having to navigate all of that, right? In her town. Then we have Search WWW, three high-powered women, love each of their personalities, very different, even the prickly one, right? And they are in the highest position possible, a couple of them CEOs, C-level, and the other one just a really high senior director, right? So that's breaking the bias because honestly, there still is that bamboo ceiling, Jane Hyun's term, that you don't really see a lot of Asian, especially women, Asian women in executive leadership roles. So that's great to see. That's something to aspire to. And looking at Dong-baek, something to aspire to, her resilience and strength, navigating through some of the taboos of being a single mom and owning a bar. So that's not really the theme though. The theme for this week is, I just have to point that out because that's the theme of International Women's Day, which I really highlighted last week. I want to look at women supporting women through K-dramas in Search WWW and When the Camellia Blooms. I'm going to intertwine the two just because it's easier for me. But think about it. Think about women supporting in women and the power that holds when it comes to your mental health. Take a second, pause and meditate. It's pretty powerful and you need it. Let's think about already the stereotypes that we face and the bias that we need to delve through as Asian American women, as Asian women in the workplace. Dispelling stereotypes galore, right? You need to get through it with the support of people, but specifically other women that understand what you're going through. There's nothing like a community like that to empower you and give you the confidence, hope, aspirations, inspiration, the desire to inspire, all because women support other women. You don't always see women supporting women, but in these K-dramas you do, and some of the K-dramas out there are many other examples, but I'm going to focus on Search WWW and When the Camellia Blooms because they're two very good examples of what it looks like to feel empowered and feeling like you could take on the world, which they pretty much do in Search WW. And you know what? When the Camellia Blooms, Dong-baek does too. She takes on a murderer by herself because of the backing of women. So, women supporting women. Just read the headlines. And right then, it's pretty powerful and hits you. And very beneficial for your emotional, social, and psychological well-being. When you are at the top leadership or a single mom navigating things on your own, how can you get through it? It's very difficult, very isolating. You do feel alone. Look at Search WWW, how they're kind of navigating even relationships, romantic relationships, Chung Gi-young being one of them. It's not easy. They're having their own issues to work out. In-law, political intrigue, in-law conflict, right? That was Song Ka-gyung's conflict, right? In-laws. And she was complex, a little prickly. That's the word I could use. But in the end, she's the one that came through and delivered to make things work with their company and everything they had to stand for. They basically held their own on principles, stood for women supporting women, because in the end, the positions they held had power, and they really had to stand against the federal government or the national government. That's not easy to do. And then had to literally declare a statement. That's hard to do in general, very stressful as a job, but they needed each other's support. And I'm not talking literally the political support and actually doing the work of showing that stance, which Ka-gyung did at the end. However, Chahyun and Tommy, right? Tommy is the main character who's with Chang Gyung. She goes to her in this critical scene in the last episode, Song Ka-kyung, who kind of holds the cards and says, like, I'm asking for your help. And obviously it took a lot for her to go there because her sunbae kind of betrayed her. And then, Tommy decides to, hold her own and go to the competitor. That's all of that. That's breaking the bias. But I want to focus on the women supporting women part that got the sunbae to change her mind or actually consider helping out and really taking a stance, a sign of courage, because a lot was at stake for her own job and in-law stuff, ex-in-law stuff. Spoiler alert there. But Tommy says something like, I need you to think of your friend, your basically hube, Chahyun, which is I love the character of Chahyun. Actually, she's probably my favorite. She's kind of like that middleman who plays both sides, but feisty and is there supporting both of them. She says some beautiful stuff throughout the K-drama of showing support, women supporting women. I'm going to be there. I got your back. Are you okay? How are you doing? The questions that women need to check up on each other. And that's what Tommy uses, honestly, to get to her sunbae to change or basically consider helping them out. And she does because of that. So in the end, it wasn't like she had to make a decision, basically ruin her career. But if I recall, just having to step down, resign as a position, basically expose everything that she did wrong in her job as a director before being a CEO. She does that. And the choice was to support her hube or do the right thing. Yes, it was doing the right thing, but it really got to her when, that's what Tommy said, is to think about your hube. I don't want you to disappoint Chahyun. Think about that. Women supporting women. I mean, think about it. When someone disappoints you or when you feel like you've disappointed a friend, it just feels this, it like kind of rips you in the gut, right? When someone disappoints you, the betrayal or whatever that has happened in your life. But when you get that support or that backing, I got your back, in the workplace, community, home, family, women supporting women is critical to your mental health. And guess what? Now more than ever, I think I say that all the time, but we live in very adverse times, okay? We are living in times where women feel unsafe. So what do you need? Sure, you need that physical defense strength and take strength training courses, do all that, yes. But I'm talking about the emotional resilience, the mental resilience that you need to hold your ground and having the backing in your head and heart of women supporting women, nothing like it. Then we have the Camellia Blooms. Oh, Tongbek's character, single mom. In the beginning you see her bullied by the town women, right? They don't think much of her, but they're really envious of her strength, to be honest with you. But yeah, they ridicule her, make fun of her, and really don't do good for her. And she kind of holds her own ground, but she's weepy. But then when they find out about the murderer, which is, sorry if it's a spoiler alert, this murderer, basically who killed Tongbek's worker that she fell in love with, and kills her, and they find this out, and they realize that Tongbek's life's at stake by the murderer, being followed by the murderer or being the next victim. There's a really beautiful scene, I want to say in episode 17, I think if I remember correctly, where they're there for her in her bar, and she even narrates saying, this is the first time women are in my bar, and they're there in such a, it's not an obvious way. Again, I really think this shows the culture, Asian culture, but beautifully done where it's nuanced and understood and assumed that she gets it. They didn't say to her, we're here for you. No, none of that's being said. They're there saying, well, we got to eat at different places, and we figured we'd try your bar, right? Because again, they're sheepish because they weren't very good to her in the beginning, but all of them women are there for her. And they even chant things like, we are the heart and soul of this town. And, she's teary-eyed. Tongbak Kong Ho-jin's character is teary-eyed because she realizes she has their support. And you don't see it at that moment, but that gives her the inner strength, because this is how I know working with folks, giving you that mental health resilience that you can do everything because of the support, women supporting women, and that moment helped her. And they're saying things to her. They're like, eat better, take care better of yourself, you think of your son, do all this, and that's their way of looking out for her. But then the ultimate scene in one of the last episodes where Tongbek figures out who the murderer is. I'm not going to tell you that, at least I'll spare that for you. And goes after him. Now, she was fearful a little bit, but this is my thinking. analyzing the support she had from the town women and going, no, I got this. There is a community of women, an army of women behind me. And I'm going to go after him because he pissed me off because he killed my friend. And she like literally, and I'm laughing, but hits him on the head with her good friend's beer mug, saying this was hers. You killed her. How dare you? And all the women are watching. Oh my gosh, that's the murderer. And the funny thing is they go after him. It's funny. They grab brooms and sticks and whatever, right? But I'm talking an army of women looking kind of scary because they're angry that this is the guy and how dare he. And the police are standing by. The whole point is the symbolism of this scene is like, whoa, you have the police there actually that can take care of things, which they end up doing. But then they see the women coming. They're like, well, okay, we thought we needed to protect Tongbek, but she's got it. The women have her back. Okay, we'll just stand by. It's a funny narration, I believe, by the lead male, Kang Han-ho, who kind of says that, observes it, going, ooh, actually, we're kind of scared for the murderer at that moment. Little bit facetious to show how strong these women looked to defend their Tongbek and just defend their town and the safety of their town because people were fearful, especially women, because there was a murderer going after the women. So that said, that was just beautifully done. I would say episodes 17 to 20 is where you see it. I'm drawing a blank on the exact episode, but I'm just saying it's just because I'm so filled with that emotion of what it's like when you see women supporting women and how critical it is for you to feel like you can do anything with that community behind you. Now, it's not just women that you need, of course, but for the sake of this month and celebrating the achievements, highlighting women's empowerment, what women can do, and how we do need to break the bias and how we face stereotypes that we still face in 2022, that is why I'm pointing out these two K-dramas. Search www. 3 women at the end showing this kind of like Thelma and Louise. It's an American movie where they kind of drive off into the sunset. It's actually bright, but they're in a convertible showing that they achieved what they needed to achieve together at the end and feeling content and happy and empowered and strong. And then we have Tongbek at the end who literally faces the murderer by herself and then leaves for him to be tended to by the women who go after him. Beautifully done, but that's what I'm trying to get at, showing the growth of these women and what they can do with an army of women behind them, women supporting women. Women out there, you need that. Nothing like a girlfriend, right? To lean on, cry to, find it, seek it, build it, develop it. Who are your army of women behind you in the workplace, at home, family? You know you need that. That's why there's mommy groups out there, women's groups out there, women supporting entrepreneur women out there, Asian entrepreneur women supporting women. Does that make sense? That's why there's these Facebook groups and platforms, because we know the power of it. And that is super important to find for the sake of your mental health and to do what you need to do. Because when you get up to that leadership level, or when you're kind of fighting a fight, you need that community. And even if they're not there literally with you, you don't need them there literally. You need them there emotionally in your head, speaking to you, having going, come on, you can do this. You're too skinny. You need to take care of yourself. We're here for you. We're at your bar when you need it, like the Camellia Blooms ladies. And then search www, meeting together, and they pick her up in that time after she gives a difficult press conference, and they pick her up and take her off into the sunset or sunrise or sun daylight, you know? And that's super important to see that. That's what you need. Look for that. Make that a priority specifically in 2022. Wherever season of life you're in, whatever you are doing, find it for the sake of your mental health. Happy International Women's Day again. Thanks for watching Noona's Noonchi. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell button to get notified of new videos to come.